I'm going to reveal my costume, which is sometimes the costume is like I can't stand far enough back because
Amazing.
No,
Justina, it looks like you've turned around.
it
That's how
does. Look
good it
at
is. Ah, ah.
We acknowledge this land we meet on is the traditional lands for the Kaurna people, and we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We also acknowledge the Kaurna people as the custodians of the Adelaide region and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to the living Kaurna people today. We extend respect to the cultural authority of all Aboriginal and First Nations people.
Welcome back to Amy and welcome to our After Dark episode. As you can see, everyone is spooky as hell.
Yeah,
You'll
I'm
get to,
certainly
I
scared of
believe we're
Harry
going to
right
put
now.
Justina's
oh yeah,
reveal in the cold open, but you should do it again.
I should. I mean, and for those of you listening at home, picture what's okay? What was her name?
Like, how do we describe this?
Samara from the Ring.
Samara?
Samara.
Yeah.
The thing that calls out the TV.
There we go.
In the
Yeah,
ring.
the ring girl.
Yeah.
So we have Justina as an amazing ring girl.
It is
We
kind
have-
of giving the thing
What's
as
up,
well.
YouTube? It's Samira. Samira or Samara? Anyway, I don't know
Anyway.
your name. Please
Sorry,
like,
just from the
subscribe,
photo.
and share. Most of all, share. And I'll
Yeah.
roll out of this TV screen with all of your friends.
Oh my God, that's like chainmail, share this to 15
Oh.
It is
people or
literally
she will
original
find
haunted
you.
chainmail.
Old school horror haunted email. So we've got Peyton in a cowboy hat, and
Hey.
we have Abby in a little Red Riding Hood-esque cape.
Yeah, it's a cape.
Got Harry with a wig of some kind.
It's Frankenstein's wife.
Oh, right, the
Hot.
Bride of Frankenstein.
Bride of Frankenstein. That's it.
And
Yeah.
I've got a little cape on. So we're appropriately dressed for this week, which is the week of Halloween, the spookiest week. We are unfortunately missing our leader, Amy. Tragic, because I would have loved to see what Amy would have put on as a
Yeah.
costume.
Oh, same. Did
I
you
would.
guys have like a go-to Halloween costume when you were younger?
Yeah, really boring, like witch, because you could just wear like a black
didn't
dress
go
and
to a lot
hat.
of Halloween parties, but dress up
Neither.
parties was always just something that I had in my cupboard already.
The only time I can remember dressing up for Halloween or dressing up for anything in general is as a kid. A friend's birthday falls around the time of Halloween, and she had a tour through the Adelaide Zoo, and we dressed up, but I'm pretty sure I just put in fangs, and that was
Nice.
it. Yeah. I
A
think
bit
I
of
was
one-
well and truly in my twilight phase.
The one time I went trick-or-treating as a kid, I dressed up as Trinity from The Matrix.
Love.
So I was walking around in this, I borrowed my mum's leather jacket. I was walking around in an Australia October heat with a big
Yeah.
leather jacket and like Doc Martens on.
oh
Real
no.
smart.
I dressed up
smart.
because the only time I ever needed to dress up was when they used to do them at like primary school. You like dress
Like
up for
book clubby
Halloween
type,
or book
book
clubby stuff.
week.
Yeah, and I used to dress up as Triss from Divergent. So
Oh
I would
my
wear like a black
Wow.
top, and then my mum would hand draw on the three bird tattoo on like my
Oh.
collarbone, and I'd be like, now I'm cool as. And that was
Oh,
it.
I
that is
just
epic.
That's so cool. I don't
used
think
to
that book
use
was out when I was in primary school.
it.
I won't say what grade this was then.
A bit of
So-
Justina lore is that I used to do cosplay. So it wasn't necessarily as a kid, but when I was like from 17 to about 20, I think, 19 or 20, I got really into making costumes. And I would just reuse them for parties. And everyone would
That's
be like,
so cool.
wow,
That's
you
smart,
dressed
but
up as
also, yeah.
Do you have
this.
pictures?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
The thought
definitely,
before
but I don't
maybe.
want to share them.
No,
Yeah, nah, yeah.
I'm genuinely really bad at keeping like digital records. So I actually kind of lose all of my data, including all my photos, about every 5 or 6 years, like clockwork. I dressed up as the TARDIS was one of my go-to ones because I'd made like a TARDIS dress and I made like
Ah,
a little light to go on my a headband with a light on it to be the light on the thing. So I would use my go-to
adorable.
costume for a while. I'll just break out the TARDIS dress.
I
Wow.
always used to be a monk or something. I always went really, yeah.
That's your go-to.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was literally, I used to have like an old, like brown monk robe. And I would just,
Oh, monk like religious monk, not monk like D&D monk.
no.
You should have greeted people at their door like, "Glory to God in the
Harry at
highest."
6 as a monk.
Yeah, yeah, terrifying, right? Didn't
But
work.
to bring us to bring us
To bring us to theme.
to bring us to theme, we are planning on talking about horror film.
Oh, yeah.
We've spoken very much about horror novels throughout the month. So for After Dark, we're going to have a discussion on horror film. I do also really want to quickly throw out that it is our Lord and Savior's birthday this week. Speaking of Amy, not Christmas coming up. I realized my error there
Just
based
because
on
we
Justine's
recently
face.
talked about like religion, I was like,
Yeah.
Whoa,
Everyone's like, wow,
whoa.
when did Abby become religious?
Didn't know you
I mean,
felt like
like,
that, Abby.
Only for
Someone
Amy am I religious.
we are not beating the cult allegations.
No. So happy birthday to Amy, who is not present, but
Should we sing happy birthday very awkwardly?
Oh, let's not.
Happy
no. As
birthday.
someone who's editing the audio, please no.
I'll lay down a beat, Peyton.
Yeah.
So, do people have a favorite horror? Like, let's start there. Do people have a favorite horror film?
Oh, or maybe let's start with what's everyone's experience with horror films first.
Does anyone
Minivan.
not watch horror? A very
Yeah.
leading question.
I was
Not
about to say,
a
I
lot.
can't answer the favorite horror film purely because I don't watch horror, which is already very clear if you've been listening this month. Because it scares the living shit out of me. I can't do it. Doesn't
That's
matter
fair.
how mild it is.
I don't watch most horror, I would say. I only really watch monster movies, which is it's its own kind of horror.
Yeah.
Do not watch thrillers, psychological serial killers,
Yeah.
other
We're
horror, horror.
We're talking by monster movie.
What am I talking about by
Yeah,
monster
what do we
movie?
mean by, or like, what are we classifying as a monster
Well,
movie?
because here's the thing, some monster movies I feel like are not scary so much. Stuff like The Meg, that's not scary. That's
Oh,
funny. That's a ridiculous film.
Oh, I've watched
But
Sharknado.
Yeah.
Ah.
Sharknado, hilarious, so silly. But stuff like Rogue, which is the crocodile one, that's set here.
A lot of
That
the
a
alien movies I
really
would
huge
classify.
crocodile. That was scary. The Alien movies, that's like
Yeah.
a monster movie. That's scary.
Yeah.
The Japanese Godzillas, not the American films or the new MonsterVerse films, but like the most recent Japanese Godzilla, I would call that a horror. That's horrifying.
Yeah.
But that's also like a kaiju monster movie. So stuff like that. But they're not all, to your point, they're not all scary, I would say.
Yeah, are we talking like, have you seen about that one with the giant spiders in the apartment building?
I can't do that one because I have
Arachnid-
pure uncut arachnophobia. Can't do spiders. Holy.
Very valid.
Oh,
Yeah, I saw a screenshot from that movie and went,
Nope.
yeah, I watched it.
burn my laptop.
It was very uncomfortable, and Brendan was like, "Why are you watching this?" And I was like, "Because I'm fascinated." And then he kept going, "Well, stop, like recoiling in the bed, because I go, my God," and he would be like, "Oh, just turn it off, like seriously, I can't continue to hear this."
You
But
said that about the Alien show too, though. You were like, I'm watching it and I'm horrified, but also so fascinated.
Oh, my favorite horror films are definitely the Alien movies. Well, I mean, Alien 1 and 2, let's be honest.
The OG ones,
The
yeah.
OG ones, the actual Alien films.
And that
yeah,
newer one.
I love those. Oh, I liked the new one. Loved the new one. Yeah.
With the human-ish hybrid
Yeah, that
one.
was
Oh, that
disgusting.
was really creepy.
That was
Oh, it was
Also,
horrifying.
rough, but so good.
as soon as a character was introduced who was pregnant, I was like,
I,
oh fuck
I
this.
did
This
the
is
same
gonna
thing.
be some fuck shit.
Yeah, I was like, fucking here we go. Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
And they're like, we got an offer. And I'm like, no, you didn't. What's happening?
I
So monster movies, what other kind of you guys will have to take over. What other kind of horror movies do you guys watch?
I would say I'm not really a horror guy. Like I'm not it's not a expertise of mine, but I have watched a few horror films and I'm not interested in horror. It's just not usually my go-to genre. There was a while back because my mum especially doesn't really like horror stuff. So there was a while a few years back where I realized that like my family are real movie people. We used to, just to date myself, we used to go to Blockbuster every single weekend and get the family deal. And so we would get like 5 movies every single weekend. But it was like never horror stuff. And so I was like, oh, there's a whole section of film that I've just have absolutely no context for. So I started wanting to watch some of the like classics. So I watched like Poltergeist. I watched Cabin in the Woods. No, wait. What was the one that Cabin in the was Evil Dead? Sorry, yeah, and then a bunch of other ones. Cabin in the Woods is one of those I would say meta satirical like comedy horrors.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, I watched a whole bunch of horror movies for a while. Still have heaps of like still lots of gaps in my knowledge. People who know about horror films, aka past guests on the show, particularly Tabby and Oscar, would know so much more about both the history of horror and like current horror films. But I would say yeah, casual. I'm a casual horror fan.
Yeah, I'm a casual.
But I do get really scared. Like I really wanted to watch Bring Her Back, which is a horror film that was made locally in Adelaide by the same people who did Talk to Me, which I really liked. But I was like, I saw the trailer for Bring Her Back in the cinema, and I was like, that is too spooky for me. If I watch this in cinemas, I have to watch it like in an early session so I can leave the cinema to daylight. And then I left it too late in the run, and the only screenings of it were at like 8:30 and 9:30 p.m. I was like, no, I can't watch it at spooky hours.
I always
have to
need
wait.
to like leave time. Like if I do watch something scary, I need time afterward to watch Barbie princess movies. Like I
Yes,
need
yeah.
time to consume something that is so light. I will hopefully not have nightmares. It doesn't work often, which is why I just don't submit myself to it. But like I need to be doing something fun
That's
afterwards.
so
Yeah.
disciplined though, because I feel like I would say the bulk of the horror movies I watched as a teenager, and I feel like I watched them to be horrified. Like there was that fascination of like, I can't keep watching
Yeah.
that I'm watching. And I just got to a point where I was like, I don't think I actually enjoy this. I'm watching this for the wrong reasons because I have such trouble with jump scares. That's the one that really gets me. Even though they're coming, I just can't I have such a physical reaction to them. So I just had to get to a point where I was like, I don't think I should watch these, and I shouldn't seek them out anymore.
I
Yeah.
get jump
So it's
scared
very
by things
disciplined
that
of you,
aren't
Abby,
jump scares.
to just not watch
I
them.
feel like if I experience so much anxiety in general that when I consume media for enjoyment, the minute my heart or throat starts feeling the same way, I'm like, I am not getting enjoyment out of this anymore
Yeah.
because I am feeling anxious.
Whereas some people do, right?
Yeah,
That's
some people love
Yeah.
the
that.
draw for a lot of people is they do want to feel that adrenaline going. Whereas like, no, I'm good, thank you. I get that from leaving the house. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm similar to a lot of you in my limited experience of horror. I was thinking as you were all talking though, I really loved The Haunting of Bly Manor. I think I really love when something has like a very prominent story running through it. Whereas I remember when I was a kid and Paranormal Activity became an absolute phenomenon. I don't even know why. I don't even know the history of that, but it was huge.
Part of why was it had like they released it to cinemas with multiple endings. Like, yeah, you could watch it not thinking you knew the ending and it would be different. So
I did
I think
not
that
know
was
that.
part of it. It was like, what
I
ending are you
forgot
gonna
about
get?
that. And then there was like, not that that is unique, this is unique to Paranormal Activity, but the not knowing how real it was because it's all on the
Yeah,
Yeah.
the found footage
Security footage.
style, which is
Yeah.
also like Blair Witch Project, and I
about to
haven't
say,
seen.
Yeah.
I was about to say Blair Witch Project is actually really creepy because it's the same vibe.
I haven't seen Blair Witch Project because I get motion sickness from the camera. But yeah.
I also remember when I
Enjoyed
was a
films. Oh,
kid, because I watched that when it came out, so I was pretty young. But even before that, I went to a friend's house and watched Wolf Creek, and I left a
oh,
glass of water.
Whoa.
Yeah, I left a glass of water in her kitchen so that whenever it got like scary, I could just walk away and have a sip of water and
Mm.
linger there for a little while,
I
and
like
then
the
I would go
ones
back.
I like the ones that are like ghosties and ghoulies and monsters and like spirits and demons, even though like I find them scary because I don't, not to
They're
out
real.
myself as a skeptic, because I don't believe in any of it.
yeah,
It's
I
it's
understand.
fine. Like I will still be scared, but like I will be fine. Well,
Yeah.
I really don't like ones that are like serial killers or like murderers or
Mm.
like that have lots of sexual violence. Anything that is just
Yeah.
too real life, like I don't
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Well, anything I find where the gore is where the because I find gore can reach a point where you're like, ew, that's nasty. And like, oh, that's excessive, but then it moves to the point where it's so excessive that it's kind of just like really fucked up. And that's when I can't really, and that's what I
Yeah.
found about the Saw movies. Like I've never been able to fully sit through a Saw movie. It goes into the realm of torture porn where I find like the Saw movies, I can't watch a Saw movie because it moves past the point of being excessive and stupid, where you're like, well, that's not real, to the point that it's just like that's just foul. It's the same with the Human Centipede movies as well.
No,
Oh.
Watch
I don't even.
because that's
Disgusting.
way too far past the point.
Yeah,
where
I'm not a
That
gore
makes me think
person.
of
disgusting.
Dead Alive,
Dead
the
Alive,
Peter
yeah.
Jackson film, because it's so over the top and ridiculous that even though it's gross and stuff, as you're watching it, you're like, this is so over the top that it's silly, and I've kind of come full circle where it's not scary to me anymore because
Exactly.
it's so silly.
Yeah.
Well, there's like really campy horror, and then there's the like really scary horror I find, and then things that sit in between. I really don't like gore. I'll take some gore as like part of the contract of watching a horror film. There'll be some gore, but I don't like ones that where the gore is the point. Like to
Yeah.
me, I don't find anything
Yeah.
appealing about that.
It's like the
I
Terrifier movies that were so they just went off and they've continued to go off. There's three of them, and they get progressively worse and
The
worse.
witch movies, sorry?
Like Terrifier movies, I
yeah, the
think.
clown ones.
Yeah,
Spiders and clowns.
like
Yeah, so the
yeah,
Terrifier movies have had a lot of conversation. Like this all brings me to whenever I think about this much gore in movies, I get like Tabby and Oscar have spoken about it, I think, where you go to a cinema, and I haven't experienced this because I don't go, but like the kind of crowd that are consuming this media and they start laughing at kind of these awful things happening to these people on the screen. And there is a conversation there that I have not read enough about like how people are reacting to this in the cinema and on the screen, particularly violence against women, and kind of what is the audience getting out of it that we're getting to that point of violence where it's just all that's happening is
It kind
awful
of speaks to that
violence, there's no
conversation
story.
about violence in video games, right? Like the ones that have really gratuitous violence, and then you're also controlling the character that's doing that violence. So I wonder if that all, again, have not read enough on the subject to have an informed opinion about it, but I wonder if that all ties in as well. And if there's a difference between just being the audience and seeing it and then like playing the video game yourself.
and it reaches a
Get in the
point
comments.
where again I haven't read, same as you guys, I haven't read enough to have an informed opinion, but I move those things out of the branch of horror, like where I go, that's not horror in the genre anymore, that's doing something completely different.
Oh, well, I feel like horror, it's one of those huge umbrella terms, right? Like it encapsulates so many different types of stories and like films and games and things, from like Hocus Pocus, which isn't really a horror film, but it has that like aesthetic, and like the Addams Family, like those like spooky Halloween themed type of like films.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, and then you've also got your like, I guess your Saw movies or whatever. I mean, again, because I don't watch gore. I don't really like gore. Whereas I like, even though I find horror movies scary, I'll watch horror movies that I find scary.
I
Again,
found the
not
term
sure
I was
what.
looking for. Sorry,
Yeah.
I just wanted to splatter film is what they're called.
Oh yeah,
Massive film,
Which is a great term.
yeah. But I'm like, I guess the experience that I'm looking for in a horror would be different from someone who's like a huge horror fan, right? Because
Yeah.
they are like, the texts are speaking to them with references and like language that someone who is really familiar with the genre will pick up on a lot more in the film than someone who's just coming to it as a fairly like with a fairly limited base knowledge, I suppose, which is the same with every genre, right? Like someone who's never watched a romance before or like never read a romance before is coming to that text with a different set of expectations than someone who's a huge romance reader or watches heaps and heaps of rom-coms.
I wonder if there's even, for some people, maybe an element of admiring the special effects of it all. Because I think that when I watch The Pit, because it's a medical show and it's very graphic and there's so many, the makeup and the, I don't even know what they're called. Like they have a fake baby and a fake birth and you see everything on there. And it's, I don't really enjoy seeing it. I'm kind of like, one of them has like a floating face and they have to push it up and you see it from the side and it's so disgusting. But at the same time, I'm fascinated thinking about how the filmmakers managed to do that.
Yeah. I like the set design. I like seeing what the corpse looks like after the chest burst is coming.
And the human body, I guess, could be interesting. But I do think for sure, like what Tabby and Oscar were saying, specifically about watching Blue Velvet, and it was at very specific moments in that film where the predominantly male audience would laugh at the violence that was happening to the woman.
Not really a horror, more of a thriller, but that was my experience watching Gone Girl, which I think is an incredible film. But hearing people in that cinema like laugh when there's like the threat of sexual violence against Amy Dunn is the name of the character. When I'm like, hey, I know she's like a kind of a villainous character, but this is actually really fucked up that you're laughing at this point. But yeah, no, there is that. But there's also an element, I feel like, of delight sometimes when you watch horror. Or like I recently-ish watched or rewatched the new Nosferatu movie with my little brother, and he was making fun of me because I kept laughing, and I was like, it's not that I find it funny, it's just that I find it delightful.
Yeah, I have to say, because I have one of my friends is really into horror and quite knowledgeable about horror and was like, oh, you got to watch Nosferatu, it's really good. And I love vampire movies and all that sort of stuff. So I was like, great, fantastic. And we were watching it at home and we just were laughing the whole time. And I just kept thinking, like, I'm not the audience for this film. Like, I'm not appreciating how masterful this film is because I know everyone says it's really good because we could just not stop laughing throughout it. And I think that's what, it's not that I'm mocking it. I was just so delighted by everything that happened on screen.
I think that's a valid way to enjoy horror. Like, I think that's valid. And I think there's a difference in when you have those gothic narratives as well. Like I recently watched the new Frankenstein, the Guillermo del Toro one, because it was screening as a part of Adelaide Film Festival. And that was such a delightful film and like also really gory, so much gorier than I'm used to. But yeah, Guillermo del Toro has this very artful way of doing these kinds of gothic films that I was
That's
just
true.
like, it
Stuff
felt
like
very
Pan's Labyrinth. I have
well.
seen that.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
Yeah.
My friend told me that because she saw Frankenstein as well, and she said it was the perfect role for Jacob Elordi because for most of the film he can only say one word, and it's Victor. Victor.
Got him.
I wonder if that's why a couple of us are interested in primarily like monster films, like monster horror, is because you do get a little less of some of these really like troublesome parts that we all are maybe fighting against when it comes to watching horror. Like we don't want to see that awful violence against women. We don't want to see some of those really dark and very common elements. So it's easier when it's an enormous spider and it's a, like
when it's a big crocodile eating everyone, that I'm not so worried about it eating the woman because he's eating everyone.
I will say,
a bra before it kills her. Like
even even in monster films, there is sometimes a way in which female characters will experience the violence that is sexualized, or like actually a different one as well is that like, because it's not just like women, like I don't know, I find it interesting that horror films in some ways kind of really highlight broader social what's the word, like prejudices or like beliefs about different groups of people, and especially about like the fear of the other and who is considered the other. But sometimes they're quite subversive in the way they tell these stories, and sometimes very, very not. And I recently ish again, actually, that was actually a couple months ago, watched Weapons, which I feel like this may be a controversial opinion. I don't know, because I'm not in horror film circles, but I thought it was an incredibly mediocre film. But one of the things that stood out to me was that, like, yeah, there's sort of graphic violence in it, but it's nothing too bad until you get to the death of the two queer characters in the film die in extremely graphic, extremely violent ways, that I feel like even the other characters who have violent deaths, it's not on the level of those two characters' deaths. And I was like, what are we doing here? Like, I was a little bit like, oh Jesus, okay.
Yeah, like,
And
we don't do this anymore.
Yeah, I don't feel like queer characters should be then protected from any violence in horror films. I'm just interested into why those deaths felt specifically voyeuristic in the gore.
I have a really weird example of the first of the new Jurassic Parks, where the assistant has the most horrific. She's played by Katie McGrath, who I love.
Awful death.
Has the most horrific,
think about this to this
graphic death, drawn out death. She's like picked up by a pterodactyl and then dropped into the mouth of the mosasaur, I think is what it is.
Yeah, but it flaps with her in the water.
You know, it's so graphic, it's so drawn out, and no one else in the film dies like that. Like her, and it's because she's like this annoying assistant who doesn't want to babysit the kids, and she's so obsessed with planning her wedding, la la la. And I just remember watching that and being like, wow, I just thought we weren't this obvious about it anymore. This one feels very pointed and obvious.
I came home from that movie and we were all like, oh, well, like that was good. We were like, hybrid dinosaur, that was a bit new, whatever it was. And I went to the little like bathroom that we had and I sat down and I was like, why can I not stop thinking about her flapping in the mouth of this pterodactyl screaming for help, and it just went on and on. And I was like, this is so, and Millie, I'm so glad you brought this up, because every time I watch the movie, I just like get up and go and do something and come back and she's dead. Because I'm like, I'm not watching this again. From the pickup, the drop, to the screaming, to all of this awful stuff. I'm like, no.
The longest death, and it's not even by the big cool new dinosaur, and a lot of the other deaths are very quick, or some of them are even sort of technically off screen. Like one of them dies in like a helicopter crash and stuff, and you're just like, why have we picked this woman in particular?
There is something written about it as well, because I went searching a long time ago and they said that they were trying to show off the new VFX that they had. And I'm like, bull fucking shit.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We're going to show it off and we're just going to pick this one. We're going to pick Morgana from Merlin.
That's all I see.
Yeah.
A queen.
That's my girl.
This makes me think of a question that we should have asked Riley or Tabby or Oscar. But I'm going to ask you.
Our missing resident experts.
Yeah. I'll just ask you guys.
We'll do our best.
I'm thinking about predictions for horror in the future, because I think we saw there was a shift. I mean, I think from my lack of expertise, but for example, when Jordan Peele entered the scene and started making his horror films that were quite, I don't know if like, is revolutionary too strong a word, but
I feel
really
like they were
subversive.
More prominently social satires as well as horrors.
Yeah. And given the political climate now and what we're saying about how horror can reveal certain fears, social anxieties, and also prejudices, I wonder if we'll take a harder turn back to like slashers, things like that are really puritanical.
Yeah. Good point, Payne, because I think that about 5 years ago, about half a decade ago, we went through this shift where we tried to make the modern things really creepy. So you had all these like, I keep losing my head.
I was watching Peyton try and talk about the political climate, and I could only stare at this vampire thing in the background. I was like,
let me get off screen so you can enjoy it.
Sorry, Harry, go ahead.
But we tried to make like FaceTime and like Zoom and Skype and like, the idea of like all this modern technology and these like frat parties, like this is where awful things happen. And horror went that way really quickly, really fast, and then it died off real fast, like back to the paranormal. and then we dipped back up, and it follows the trends really quickly.
But
But I think that you're right in saying that we're about to take a turn back toward some really like some less social commentary stuff and some more like hardcore slasher shit.
maybe, I mean, maybe out of the US, but like, I
Yeah.
feel like I kind of am, I don't know if this is just wishful thinking. I'm wanting more of the really like unapologetically monstrous, campy, like queer and feminist horrors, things like Ginger Snaps. I don't know if anyone's
Yeah.
seen that. Like,
No,
Yes,
I have
yes.
not, but I have
like
heard of them.
it's great. Monster movie, werewolf movie, also
One
very
of the
much
best
about,
werewolf movies.
very much, I feel like, yeah, very like adolescence, like the horrors of getting a period, but like
Yeah.
in a
The
very
horrors of
campy
puberty.
werewolf horror. And then things like Jennifer's Body as well. Like I wonder if we're going to get some of those. But I feel like when you're talking about like technology horrors and things like that, Harry, it made me think of Black Mirror.
Yes,
I think
yeah.
sometimes Black Mirror, it steps too far in being too preachy in a way. Like you can't watch the episode without being like, oh yeah, what if technology but bad? Like what if your phone was evil? And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I know. Like I know what if my phone was evil.
And it did, but I
Yeah.
feel like Black Mirror went alongside the idea of these. I can't even remember what they were called, what those awful movies were that started, because there were tons of them. There were ones with like James Franco in them and all these like awful horror films that came out.
Oh, what about that one where you had the, I guess, I don't know if it was horror, now that I think about it, but the one where you had the time on your hand of how long you would live.
Oh yeah,
Justin
yeah.
Timberlake,
Really
that's
high
who was in the
concept
movie.
stuff.
In
Yeah.
time.
Horrifying, probably
I
not
feel
a
like
horror film.
they rose alongside Black Mirror, and you're right. They went into this like preachy idea of this very simple stuff
Whereas
that
I feel like I like the high concept, but I need there to be like a narrative and a story at the heart of
yeah,
it. And it needs
yeah.
to be I like horrors that are dealing with themes beyond just like I guess the surface level, which a lot of them do. A lot of them do. So yeah.
What
You
do we
might
think?
see a lot of different things at once. Like maybe we will, especially with how so many things are just IP these days. So you probably would get revivals of slashers, but also we're seeing the revival of the Alien movies already. And that's a good one, I think, because
Well,
those movies were always really progressive. It's a shame that they are still progressive in the exact same way that they were progressive originally.
I would say
Yeah.
like I mean even Alien has the Alien franchise. I mean as everyone knows has its ups and downs. But like Alien Romulus, even though I did enjoy watching that movie, it is troubling in a lot of ways in like the way it conceives of the female body as sort of inherently horrifying symbolically, and then B, the entire narrative around the black android. And it's like it's an uncomfortable watch, but I don't feel like it's intentional enough in the way that it deals with that discomfort to actually have something to say about like
That's a
slavery,
really good way
which
of
is
putting
the
it.
obvious like thing that comes to mind when you watch that.
I don't want to be pessimistic at all, but I do fear that because of the way politics are going, there will be a certain level of regression in kind of what is being depicted as horrific, like you're saying with the women's body and with black characters, particularly coming out of America though.
Yeah.
Because we are going such a slide toward conservatism and right wing.
Well,
Not to be sort of meta, I don't really have an idea of where horror movies will go. Probably more AI stuff like Megan
Yeah.
and
Megan is very
whatever
funny.
that there was another AI robot one recently that I can't remember what it was called.
Is this the one with the
But on a more
girlfriend? I don't know.
yeah, yes. On a more meta level, I worry more about the general world's increasing inability to watch media in a critical way and to engage with media in a critical way. And I think you're right, Abby. And I think they will regress, but then people's minds will regress with them. So the world won't even question that regression in the way that we should enough. As we're seeing across the world, humanity is being gutted at a time when we really need it. And I just worry more about all of those things intersecting.
This might be the true spooky moment of the episode, can I just say?
Oops, sorry, too real.
I was like, damn.
Talk about vampires again.
I feel like we're going to get that subversive and like satirical horror coming from art house and independent cinema, but
Yeah.
from
Yeah,
the
I think we
mainstream
need to look
Hollywood
to
stuff.
indie movies
Yeah.
more, I think, than the mainstream ones.
And
Because
indie movies always have been the backbone of horror, though. That's
Mhm.
exactly how a lot of all of the big horror directors came
Same
up
in the game sphere. A lot
with
of the
that.
indie
Yeah.
do so much with horror.
Oh, there's okay. So there's two things I want to say. One is another potentially controversial thing about weapons, which, if you have strong feelings, argue in the comments. Please give us that engagement.
Like,
But I feel like Weapons to me was a film that was dealing a lot in having the aesthetics of horror and layering over the aesthetics and tropes of horror, but with absolutely no substance underneath it. Like it didn't have anything to say about anything, which
Right.
I
That's
feel
the
like is
title.
actually unusual about
Weapons
horror.
had no substance.
Anyway, I was just like,
Engagement.
this is just like a layering of different ideas where someone's like, oh, this might be spooky, but there's nothing thematically
Okay.
really driving it. Whereas I
Right.
think it's interesting that you bring up Jordan Peele because I feel like Nope is his best film,
I
but it's
loved
the
that
one
one.
that was met with the least fanfare. And I think
Yeah.
because it was so critical of the way that of like the voyeuristic way in which like black people are used in Hollywood. So Hollywood is like, even though normally they froth a Hollywood film, they don't froth a Hollywood film that is critiquing Hollywood.
Yeah,
with the
I think
substance,
you're right.
well, like when the substance came out, because that was just like pure
Hmm.
grotesque body horror. Oh, it was so disgusting. And as a person that is petrified of needles, like that's like one of my number one fears, that way too many needles piercing flesh in that movie. Like I felt like every time I turned back to the fucking screen, she was injecting herself, and I'm like,
I
here we
can
go.
do I can do needles, but I can't do slicing, and often those two
Oh,
come together. So it ends up looking like I don't like needles, but what I don't like is slicing.
a lot of slicing,
But
and a
even
lot of
that comes
needles.
up in fantasy movies too, like when people get sliced with daggers and swords, I'm like, no!
Oh, every 5 minutes
Ah!
they're like slashing their own palms.
Yes!
Oh,
Let's make a
Yeah.
blood pact. I'm like, don't!
just prick your finger, I say all the time. You know, like blood sacrifice. I'm like, just prick
Yeah!
the finger and just rub it where it needs to go. I'm like, you
Let
don't need
me
a
Rip
Right.
a
Just a really quick blood sacrifice into the runes, you
Also,
know?
I
let me
will
tear a
say, like, you have,
hangnail and I'll
drip,
be
drip.
bleeding.
I will say, you have a lot of nerves in your hand. You actually need your hand quite like doing a
yes.
fairly deep dagger cut across your palm is going to impact you for a really long time, actually.
Yeah.
Gross.
What I was going to say about the substance though is that was
Why
so
would you tell us that?
acclaimed, and there was a lot of awards and stuff about it, and that was because that was about an old actress that was having issues with their image and women in Hollywood, and so they were like, oh well, that's okay, it's Demi Moore, we can do it. And then Nope by Jordan Peele doesn't get the same appeal because
It's so funny because I feel like Death Becomes Her did that 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
The old actress and all that sort of, giving her soul to look younger.
Oh, well, I
I
hope
think
we get more subversive weird horror, but I do fear that we're at least from a mainstream Hollywood source, maybe headed
regress.
towards, as you say, just that like whatever's aesthetic and thoughtless.
Yeah.
Can I ask,
Yeah.
what would we all love to see as a book that hasn't quite been made, it hasn't been made into a movie yet? Not quite been made doesn't work. Oh, it was a half.
Oh, we
Dracula
nearly
with the
got there.
cowboy in it.
Yeah. Finally put
Put
a
the
cowboy in
back
it.
in Dracula.
Putting the cowboy in Dracula.
It's
Had
gay.
Red Riding Hood and Miguel from
A
the
lot of
Ring.
my favorite horror novels, I fear I wouldn't be able to watch. So,
So
like, I really
fair.
like The
We're talking
Truth,
about
but that's
now.
that kind of grotesque body horror. And yeah, so I wouldn't be able to consume it. Or,
I certainly
like,
I could not watch The Troop if they made that into a movie.
no, it'd be absolutely disgusting.
There's
They're all eating each
no
other, or
way.
carpet, or fingernails, and
Ugh.
drywall.
Ugh.
Like,
What's the flesh one?
Oh, like Pika?
Pika,
well, they all get
Pica.
in. So in The Troop, they get infested with these tapeworms, and because they're tapeworms, they're
that's
starving, and so they just start
Ah.
eating anything and everything. And so it
Yeah.
starts with like
And
drywall or
anyone.
lint or carpet, and it turns into,
Mm.
people.
Can you talk about the locker scene where the
Oh.
boy's in the thing and they're
Oh yeah, they're feeding him bits of stuff through the
Bits
locker.
of stuff.
Yeah.
Bits of
feeding him
stuff.
things to see
Bits
what
and
he's gonna
pieces.
eat, like
Yeah,
how
they're
far
just trying to
they
figure
push
out
it.
what limits this person has of eating, and there are none. So I couldn't see that in a film myself, but it would probably make a really gross film.
It was on my rec list this month is The Darkness Outside Us, which is a queer sci-fi. I can't really talk about it too much without giving away the whole plot, but I went into that not knowing that it was kind of a horror. So when the horror happened, which happens pretty early on, I went, oh no, because I was already invested at that point. So then I had to read the whole thing, but it was really, really good. And I would love to see that as a movie. But basically, there's these two boys. They're quite young from memory, like maybe 20 or younger than that. I can't remember, early 20s, going on a spacefaring mission to find, another habitable planet, which again, another one of those common fears for the people of Earth. And it's just the two of them. And then stuff happens and it's horrifying.
Ooh.
But
I
not
really
in
want
the
to read this
not in the
book.
way that space stuff is
Yeah.
normally horrifying. It's got an extra level of horrifying. But it's such a good book. I would love to see that as a movie.
What's it called?
The Darkness Outside Us.
Oh, that's gonna be my read in between our next book club.
It's
I
good. It's really good.
enjoyed My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. I'm pretty sure it was set in the 80s, that one. So it's full of so many pop culture references that are really, really fun. I don't want to give away the big scene, but her friend's possessed by a demon. It's all in the title, and so she has to try and figure out how to save her friend, even though her friend is evil and terrible to her. But it made me really emotional. It was such a great story
Oh.
about friendship. It was also pretty scary in the way that when a book is scary, it's different from when a movie is scary. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not to be a very what's the word, like a brown noser, but please like I would love an adaptation of that. I think it would be
That's
difficult to pull off.
true. This would be a great film.
I think
And
it
I
would be
think-
difficult. Yeah.
And I think because so much of it is very internal, so it'd be really interesting to see how they approach that. But I think they need to hire the audiobook narrator to do the voice of the demon.
But one thing I loved, not to talk about this book more this month, but one thing I really liked about the book is the fluidity with which it moved through memories and past events, and I feel like that would translate really well to the screen.
Yeah, I agree. I would be really pissed off if they don't do the thing the way it's in my head, though.
Well, the
Right.
problem
Isn't that
with the
always the way,
monster in
though?
that is that it doesn't have a physical form, and I fear that in turning it into cinema, they would give it some form of physical form,
Yeah.
and I would hate that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
I would probably pick either the first is a book that Abby told me to read one time when we were doing another podcast, which is Tender as the Flesh.
Huh.
Because
No, I don't want to see that in cinema at all.
No, I
Doesn't sound like an Abby film.
It was really.
It's an Abby book, but it shouldn't be in film. It shouldn't.
I'd be interested.
No.
That would be one of those ones that I'd watch out of interest again. Like I'd be like, how are they going to? And then the other one I was going to say is The Long Walk, but they've literally only just, I think, released that in the cinemas.
True. Has
No.
anyone seen it yet?
Not wait to watch that.
I feel like I've seen it.
Me too. I've
Because
watched
I've
a lot of
seen
TikTok.
so many
I-
TikTok
I was
minutes
really?
about it.
Millie, I said I've seen a lot of TikToks about it.
Yeah.
Not
Yes.
on this side of TikTok.
Not
at
sure
all.
why. Not sure why my algorithm's showing me those.
Yeah,
But
it's really
As
not one
I've
of them.
said off pod, my algorithm shows me anything that has a fandom.
Mm.
So
My
it's like, fandom?
algorithm-
Do you want it?
will you like this?
Yeah, and I'm
Would you
like,
like
okay.
this?
Stray Kids recently had their like world tour encore concerts in South Korea, and my algorithm has been almost exclusively clips from that. So
My current algorithm feels like I'm on Tumblr because everyone is making edits of Regina from Mean Girls and what's his name? Not Roderick,
Abby.
the brother from Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Yeah,
My
Roderick.
friend
Oh,
texted me
Roderick.
about this 3 hours ago.
They're shipping them at the moment, so my
Wait, so
entire TikTok
has
is
finally
edit
discovered crack
slices of
ships.
them together, and I'm like, I'm on Tumblr.
Oh my
Wait,
God.
well, this has missed me. I mean, this is also tangential, but like, are we talking Renee Rapp, Regina George, or like,
No,
like?
no,
Regina.
OG.
OG.
think-
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know about this.
You gotta
Regina
see the
George is
TikToks.
canonically a lesbian.
Oh, well, there is
exactly.
that. True. Yeah.
Yeah,
How interesting.
that
Myself
was
will be falsely
tangential. I
incorrected.
feel like we've
Tangential.
veered away
Listen,
from horror films.
it's
Yeah,
after
fuck
dark.
that.
We're allowed to
I will admit.
we're allowed to
That
tangent.
failed in about 15 seconds.
I do have a question, a movie, like to sort of link to that. Is there a book that is horror that has been turned into a movie that you do think was done very well?
Ooh.
I can go first. I have an answer. I thought that despite its differences, I really liked the film adaptation of Annihilation. with Natalie Portman. I
Natalie
thought
Portman.
that was such a good film, and I think they changed enough to make it, watchable as a movie, but kept enough of the horror that I could still recognize it from the book.
We were completely robbed of a cinematic release for that film. I'm still salty
100%.
about it. That would have been beautiful in
100%.
cinema. This is
Yeah.
probably recency bias, but I really like the recent Frankenstein movie. I think Guillermo del Toro is literally the perfect director for a Frankenstein adaptation, being both a like lover of monsters and of the gothic genre in general.
He
Like
is so
it is
dope.
awesome.
He's
beautiful.
so across it, like so
Yeah.
versatile in
Yeah.
what Guillermo does. Like he does my favorite like animated series called Troll Hunters, which is literally for children. But I will still
I know Trollhunters.
I know Trollhunters.
Never seen
Yeah,
it, but I know.
I know of it.
But yeah, I love Troll Hunters, and he's so like that is completely different to doing the new Frankenstein movie.
I
And I
mean,
think it's great.
also more horror film Rex. People absolutely need to watch Pan's Labyrinth. That is a film that gave me
Agreed.
nightmares
If you
and
haven't
is also
seen it,
incredible.
The
especially
little
if you love fantasy as well, like
Yes.
spooky
yeah.
fantasy, I feel like he really, it might just be that he only works with genres that he loves, but I feel like when you watch his movies, you can tell that, like Pacific Rim, which is my favorite film ever,
Really?
you can tell that he loves the genre and that he
Yeah.
gets it. And I feel like he always nails the vibes of each genre that he dips his toes into. Even if a lot
Because I
of what
feel
his
like
stuff is
he
horror-ish.
he comes to his films, I feel like, from such a place of empathy that I feel like, especially in a story like Frankenstein, where it can be easy for it to become about like, oh, how scary is this disfigured character? It never feels like that. It's still, yeah, he has such a point of view of empathy in his films that I think is, yeah, really lovely to see in horror.
I agree.
Yeah.
Perfect. My favorite would be The Mist, actually, because I think that the ending of the Mist movie is so different to the book. And it was like really publicly applauded by Stephen King. Where he was
Interesting.
like, this is actually exactly how I should have ended the book. Like, and it's a huge diversion. Like it's completely different. But it's
I
so
didn't know that.
awful as an end of a horror film that you're like it's brilliant. The movie is really fucking weird. Yeah, it's the ending that really carries it through. And I remember everyone was like, oh, the outrage from some fans. And Stephen King was like, no, this is actually fucking brilliant. Like they understood what the purpose of the book is and they did an ending that was better than my own.
I was
That's fair.
thinking, and the most horror that I have consumed is horror themed K-dramas. But they tend to go like crime-based horror often.
Or your serial
Or
killers.
zombies. They really, 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 really like zombies. And
Oh,
so
I
Happiness
love
is my
zombie
favorite
stuff.
K-drama of all time, which is crazy because it is terrifying.
Sorry, which one was that again?
It's called Happiness, and it's a zombie horror thriller K-drama, and it's set in a apartment building during a zombie apocalypse, and it's a romance. The romance in it is amazing. It's got the
Is that
best
the
romance.
one
I think I've seen
where
it.
his daughter is the zombie?
No, they have so
Okay.
many zombie ones. It's insane.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's very good.
I can't believe it's
Trying to
taken
do
this
stuff.
long to mention zombies because I love zombie stuff.
I know.
Ah.
I almost mentioned them earlier, and we got off on a tangent.
Yeah.
Because zombies are horror
Reminds
for the
me that
most part.
28 Days Later and then 28 Years Later, both I think great films.
Phenomenal. I forgot about them.
And back on like adaptations, I think Highway Bodies by Alison Evans. When I read that book, I could see it like it was a film in front of like my eyes. Like that would make such a good movie or TV show.
I
Do
love
we
that.
count End of the World movies as horror?
It depends.
Like,
I think it really depends.
Like 2012.
No, I think that's disaster.
No, it's disaster.
That's what it
Yeah.
is.
Which
Yeah.
I guess are horrifying in their own way, but not horror.
Something like A Quiet Place, those movies, I feel like are
Ooh.
both apocalyptic or post-apocalyptic and horror.
That's true. That's
so
crossed the
good.
line
I've
there.
seen
See,
that.
I couldn't watch a lot of End of the World movies about like disaster films because they terrified me. Because they seem
Oh, I love them.
I love disaster.
no, now I like them because I'm in my interest phase where I'm like, how'd they do that? Could I survive this?
Zombie movies are a great, like,
Oh.
what's the word? Benchmark, maybe, or just reference point when it comes to horror films because zombie films always reflect the current, like many horror films, the current anxieties of the time. And so we've gone from the origin of zombies, which are like, quote, voodoo zombies, but like white people taking that and making voodoo zombies films, to like your Walking Dead zombies, and there's even romance zombie movies now. What's that one? Warm Bodies.
Warm Bodies.
With Nicholas Hoult.
I have rewatched Warm Bodies an embarrassing amount of times.
I've read
It's
and
a
watched
sweet
that.
little film.
That
There's nothing
does
wrong with that.
remind me.
And that would be my adaptation to answer your question from earlier. I've
Oh,
read and watched
excellent.
that. It was great.
Like straight
Warm
from
Bodies.
Avatar.
Speaking of adaptations, and I
So
won't
funny.
linger on this too long because I think it would classify as a hate crime to talk about this without Riley on the pod. But The Last of Us really love both the games and the TV
yes.
show.
Yes,
Yeah.
agreed. Until they followed the canon in the TV series when it was out.
I look
Well-
again. We're not allowed to have this conversation without
Yeah.
Riley. So
I'm
We'll just
sorry.
name
going
drop
to
it
love
and then move on.
yeah.
Quick, name
Players that
name
I
another
really
zombie
would-
movie.
I
Wait,
feel like
back
if we
next
really
year.
got into this, we would begin a different After Dark episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, just called zombies. But I
Um,
do think it's interesting because, we talked a bit about genre blending during the month with horror and horror mance and stuff. So I find the genre blending of zombie films really interesting because you've got comedy, like we talked about Shaun of the Dead, which is
Zombieland.
Zombieland, and
Pride and
there's
Prejudice
another
zombies.
yes, which is I love
Oh my
that.
god,
I love that. I
read
love
and
that
watched
book.
that. There we go.
But then so many of the zombie films are very serious, like I
World
Am
War Z.
Legend and like 28 Days Later. World War Z is another good one. Another one that's like a good film by itself, not a good adaptation of the book.
Very true. That's a cult favorite in this family over here. So like mum will just sometimes go, "Are we gonna watch World War Z?" And I go, "Over my dead fucking body." Like I don't
Interesting.
She's
really
like, yeah,
want to-
that's kind of what the film's about.
Yeah. Well, the idea that there's can we quickly hypothesize what we're gonna think, what kind of zombie apocalypse we would all survive? Who's gonna survive first? If all six of us,
well, they have to be slow zombies to begin with.
well, yeah.
Yeah, I cannot do fast zombies.
Fast.
That's terrifying.
I feel a bit like Amy. I feel like the second we hit apocalypse, I'm gone. There's just
We're
too
going-
much
See,
going
this
on
is where
medically
I'm
for
like,
me.
I think I would survive, not because I have survival
Really?
skills, but I think I would have a desire to survive that perhaps
Great.
is in itself a strength in this apocalypse.
I feel like I'd be quite a spiteful person and be like, I'm not dying.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be
feel-
off
good.
immediately, but
Yeah.
I would die. I'm not a main character, that's for sure.
I feel like I would so desperately want to just die and then I would be alive. I would
So
just be
you're the
stuck
one at the
alive.
end.
You would
Yeah,
have dramatic
like,
Like, oh,
irony.
Love
fucking
of God.
damn it. Why am I
Peyton's
still
our main
here?
character.
Against her will.
Peyton
This
is the
wasn't meant to
final
be
girl.
me.
She tries
Anytime-
multiple times throughout the film to die, but nobody kills her.
Yeah. Anytime someone sacrificed their life for me, I'd be like, why would you do that? Don't do that.
My
not
plan
worth
foiled
it.
again.
Why would you?
My
feel like
plan
so
failed
funny.
again.
Should've been
we would all very comically have moments where you're like, finally it's my time, and then we'd throw ourselves in front of the danger and
Yeah,
be like,
I'm
not
no.
Yeah, runs towards an exploding gas station, but Abby
And then-
gets there first, and she's
like
like
bleeding
"Oh,
out on the ground, being like, live, Peyton, live.
Live for me, Peyton.
You're the only one who can carry on the legacy of
Yeah.
Amy Ann.
Let's go
We're still making a podcast in this
We're
apocalypse.
still podcasting.
We could podcast from the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Our Lord and Savior is not here today, unfortunately. She has succumbed.
The zombie virus has gotten her.
Got
She
her
will
locked
be
in the
here
back
next
room.
week. We just have to figure out how to strap her in.
That would be so funny. We all like log in and we don't talk beforehand, so then we log in and go, "It was Peyton. Peyton gone. Wow, wow." Already didn't pick
Oh my
up.
God. And doing the TikTok trends, being like, I'm Justina. This is me at the start of the apocalypse, and then
This is
all
me
haggard
5
and
days
like
into the
bodies like,
apocalypse.
this is me 1 year into the apocalypse, and I'm like ripped now, shredded.
Fit check. I'm going to forage. Hope I don't die.
Pit check
man.
to forage is so funny.
Like I've got my docs that I've had since before the apocalypse.
Yeah, everyone needs to stop thrifting.
My neighbor
The
died. You know
thrift
what that
stores are
means?
stripped.
Shopping day.
All my Anko
Oh,
quotes have
man.
gone away to nothing.
I feel like we should end on that note. What a note to end
Unfortunately, I'm
on.
not quite sure what happened there.
What other note would you end on?
And that
except for
is
the end
how
of the
we
world?
would survive in the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah. Our
After
viewership
dark, this is what
and
happens.
our viewership and listenership will go skyrocket because we'll be the only ones providing
That's
entertainment.
right.
That's
Yeah.
There'll be less people to listen, but there'll also be less podcasts to listen to.
Yeah.
And it should
No
eat
competition.
Key.
You know. Yeah.
I also would love people to. I'm going to keep pushing. Jump in the comments, everyone. Jump in the comments.
In the comments.
I genuinely want to know what people's like apocalypse plans would be. How do you think you would survive it? And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Are you
tell us how you would survive the zombie.
surviving because of dramatic irony?
What topics
right.
would people want from a podcast in the apocalypse?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So we can prepare.
Good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be
Yes.
Imagine we all just
So-
log into the file that we've got that's like the apocalypse hits, and I'm like, hold, I've got to just check what our episode will be next week in our apocalypse document. And I'm like,
Yeah, I'm trying to upload the episode. I'm just in
Come
a
with
cell
me.
and the Wi-Fi's
We're behind you fighting off the zombie horde.
yeah.
I was like,
Abby,
how
there'll
much
be no
longer,
reels
Abby?
this week. No reels.
We'd be like, come with me to forage for books to have for our book club apocalypse book club. We're just
I'm
like
here to
in
rob my
access
neighbour's
library
house.
Don't
looking
worry,
for
we're going
something.
to read them out to you on the pod. Nobody cares about copyright anymore. All right. Thank you for listening, everybody. This has been our Halloween After Dark episode. Thank you, Peyton. Thank you, Justina. Thank you, Abby. Thank you, Harry. And thanks to me. Good
Thank you,
night,
Millie.
everyone.
Happy Halloween.
Happy
Bye.
Halloween.